Cliff Richard, at 85, stands as one of the most iconic figures in British music. Yet, his life is marked by a profound absence, a life never shared with a wife. For decades, fans have questioned why the man who sang so beautifully about love never found someone to share his own life with. The answer lies in the pressures of fame, the promises he made to himself and his faith, and the balance between a public life on stage and the personal life he never allowed himself to fully live. Behind the songs, the charm, and the faith was a man who found his purpose in music, but also carried a quiet truth, the weight of a life spent alone, by choice, yet never without love. The birth of a star, from Harry Webb to Cliff Richard. In the late 1950s, as Britain emerged from the aftermath of war, a teenage boy named Harry Webb began to rise in the world of music. By the time he was 18, Harry would become Cliff Richard, the voice that symbolized hope, youth, and rebellion in a recovering world. Overnight, he went from being a shy boy from Hertfordshire to becoming the face of British pop music. Fans flocked to see him, radio stations played his songs endlessly, and producers molded him into the perfect British idol. Fame, however, hit him like a storm. While the world saw a confident, charming performer, Cliff was still a young man, living at home
with his parents, struggling to understand the weight of expectations that fame had thrust upon him. A life measured by discipline, fame, and privacy. Cliff Richard didn't ease into fame. It came swiftly and intensely. The fame that enveloped him from a young age came with a constant pressure to maintain a carefully curated image. While many performers thrived in the spotlight, Cliff recognized that his survival in the industry depended on control. He knew that every word, every gesture was scrutinized, and any misstep could be disastrous. Therefore, he protected his privacy fiercely. It wasn't that he didn't want intimacy, it was that he knew that giving too much of himself away would cost him his sense of self. Over time, the need for order, structure, and discipline replaced the youthful desire for romance and personal connection, leaving him alone but at peace with his choices. The price of fame, a vow to keep control. As his career flourished, Cliff Richard built a life of order and self-discipline. Unlike many others who reveled in the chaos of fame, he sought control. His music, his image, and his choices were all part of a carefully managed life. But as the years passed, fame began to take its toll on him personally. He found that while his career gave him everything he had ever dreamed of, success, admiration, wealth, it also robbed him of the very connection he craved. Cliff's commitment to his work meant that love, in the traditional sense, was never fully realized. Despite the pressures, he vowed never to lose control of his life, even if that meant remaining alone. His dedication to his craft became the shield that kept him from distractions, including the possibility of a romantic relationship. These struggles of love, closer than he ever let on. Throughout his career, Cliff was never short of admirers, and the public was forever curious about his private life. They wanted to know if there was someone behind the music, a woman who had captured his heart. While there were moments of affection and tenderness, especially in his younger years, Cliff always kept a distance. His first serious relationship with dancer Delia Wicks was marked by affection, but the relentless demands of his career created an insurmountable distance between them. Delia's letter, years later, expressed her deep love for him, but also her realization that she couldn't wait for a man whose work always came first. Cliff kept that letter, a quiet reminder of what fame had cost him. It wasn't just a career that took time, it took the chance at a personal life. A connection that defied romance. For decades, the public speculated about Cliff Richard's relationship with this woman, but neither of them ever gave in to those expectations. Their friendship was marked by a rare sense of understanding and quiet strength. They shared moments of deep conversation, laughter, and mutual support, and the world misread it as something more. Cliff, however, was clear about his boundaries. To him, love didn't have to come with ownership or romance. Their bond was proof that deep connection could exist without the expectations of marriage or romance. It was love in its purest form, untouched by the pressures of society or the expectations placed upon them. When she fell ill later in life, Cliff remained devoted, offering quiet support without fanfare. Their friendship was the kind of love that didn't require validation from the outside world.
The solitude of discipline and faith. Cliff's decision to never marry was not based on avoidance of love, but on his unwavering commitment to his faith and career. In 1966, he took a step that would change his life when he was baptized, committing himself fully to Christianity. This act of faith transformed his life, and he began to view his career as a way to serve others, rather than seeking fame or glory. His faith became his guiding principle, and it demanded sacrifices. Marriage, he believed, was sacred and should not be entered into lightly. With his life constantly on the move, he knew that a relationship built on such instability would eventually crumble. Instead of a traditional family life, he chose discipline, restraint, and a life dedicated to his music and faith, even if it meant living without the companionship he longed for. The quiet cost of fame. While many admired Cliff for his strong moral compass and his commitment to his faith, his choices were often misunderstood. The tabloids were fascinated by his private life, and their curiosity led to constant speculation. Cliff's refusal to explain himself or provide answers only fueled the rumors. But instead of reacting with anger or frustration, Cliff chose silence. He refused to let the world dictate his narrative or cheapen the life he had built. His commitment to faith and discipline meant that he didn't seek validation through public confession or drama. He continued his work with sincerity, and through it all, his silence became a powerful statement in itself. Cliff knew that the best way to silence rumors was not through confrontation, but through steady perseverance. Building a life defined by loyalty, not romance. Though Cliff never married, he did not live in isolation. Over the years, he built a family of friends who understood and respected his values. These relationships, rooted in faith and mutual respect, became the core of his later life. His home became a sanctuary where friends gathered, shared meals, and offered one another comfort and guidance. Cliff's closest confidants, including his manager Bill Laum, remained by his side for decades, navigating the ups and downs of fame together. Their bond was built on trust and shared purpose, and it never required public validation. To Cliff, these relationships were just as meaningful as marriage. He had created a family not through romance, but through loyalty, care, and shared values. And in that, he found the connection and belonging he had always longed for. A life rich in companionship, faith, and purpose. As Cliff Richard's fame began to fade in the 1980s, he found himself surrounded by a network of friends, faith communities, and colleagues who supported him without judgment or expectation. These relationships provided the emotional connection he had once sought through romance. Through his faith, he found a deep sense of purpose, and through his friendships, he found companionship that transcended the need for marriage. Cliff often spoke about how companionship was a divine gift that didn't have to be limited to marriage. The life he built was not one of loneliness, but one of deep connection, rooted in shared faith, values, and mutual support. His story is one of choosing purpose over passion and finding peace in the love that surrounded him, even without the need for a wife.